Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be revisiting the Toler Union with Omniloc Ranch. Now, the reason I have these other tools out here is because the Toler Union is designed so that you could have a couple of different tools in one. However, because of the way it's integrated and because of the lack or the inability to get to some of the other tools in this particular multi-tool efficiently, I think it's something that I would steer away from. In my opinion, it's just over-engineered. Now, I really try to say that with a grain of salt because unlike a lot of multi-tools that are out there that are built by conglomerates or larger companies like Gerber or Victorinox or Leatherman, this is actually designed by a single engineer. And so he's trying to make his mark into the multi-tool world. I just think his first offering was overthought, if you will, trying to do too much, and should have kept it more simplified, in my opinion. Now, a good combination and something that would rival this package, but a lot more user-friendly, would be a setup like this with the Leatherman Charge Plus and the Knipex 125 or the 5-inch pliers wrenches. Now, you could switch out the Charge Plus for the standard duty multi-tool of your choice, be that from Leatherman with a rebar or wave or charge, or you could go into something like the Swiss tools, with the new Spirit models, the MX clip. Even Gerber has a couple offerings that might bode a little bit better in a combination with the pliers wrench as opposed to this all-inclusive tool. So let's get a little closer into it, and I'll show you the highs and lows, what I had trouble with, what I find difficult to use, and why ultimately I don't think this is I just don't think that it's a good combination with how it was originally designed, and I would like to see something done that's a little bit more simplified. Now, before I put these other tools away and take a closer look at this one, let's just take a little comparison for the weight difference. This one weighs in at 14.53 ounces, and let me switch over to grams. I don't know what the conversion is. So 411 grams, and this combination is 329 grams or 11.56 ounces. So a full 3 ounces lighter than what the Toler Union is. Well, let's take a look at one of the best features to this tool, and that's going to be the knife blade. Now, the knife blade on this one is done pretty well. Comes out really sharp, has a nice grind to it. Decent profile. It's great for utilitarian blade, more of a beater blade, if you will. It's not a bad tool. The problem was that I find with this one is its placement. And this is true of a lot of other multi-tools as well, like when you get into Leatherman's line, like the Super Tool 300 or the rebar, wherein you have to contend with the edge of the tool being further down from the blade, and so you don't have full access to the blade. Now, not to say that you don't get use out of it. You can get a lot of use out of it. It's just that if it had been positioned so that it was further over, it would have been a lot better. So the blade on this one is definitely one of the high points. Now, I've showcased this tool before, and to open this one up, there's a little lever here in order to get this thing fully open. So if you don't engage that lever, it will come open to about the 90-degree position here. To get it the rest of the way, you have to unclick that, and then that will allow the tool to fold open. Now, there is, for the bits, you do have a holder up here on the front, though it is extremely cumbersome to use that particular holder. So let's go ahead and open this one up again. And here is what should be one of the main tools to this tool. Of course, this one also has the wrench, so it's kind of twofold with this one. But the pliers are going to be an important part of this particular multi-tool. And I have found sometimes that time it came out okay. But I've noticed if my hands are a little bit slick, if they're a little bit sweaty or something, then sometimes I have a real difficult time getting that plier head to flip over. And when you do, also you'll notice that it opens up, and so when you push it down, it kind of closes back up on you. So in this position, you'll see that the pliers open. So when you're trying to push against it, you get your thumb caught in just the wrong position, and as we go down, you see that the pliers pinch together, and so it makes it not very comfortable to do if you get the meat of your thumb caught inside of those pliers. So that is definitely a drawback to this one. Also, the size of the pliers for a tool that is this heavy and is this robust, I think that the pliers could have been a lot larger in this particular tool, or it's something that I would expect out of a tool of a larger size like this. Now, the one other benefit to this one also is that they're spring loaded. A lot of people do like that. So let me close this one back up. Here's another issue is, well, you can close this back up and have access to these tools, but there's a couple different steps in order to use some of these other tools now. So these have nail nicks up at the top. You have your saw blade, you have your file, and then you have a punch, but none of these are locking. They have more of that slip lock, kind of like the original Super Tool 300 did, where you have to open up another tool. Now I said they weren't locking, but they will lock in place. They're just not a they don't have a mechanism designed to, like on the Leatherman tools or the newer generation of Leatherman tools where you just push it to unlock it. You have to physically pull the tool out in order for that to bypass, and then you can close it up. The saw blade leaves a lot to be desired. Did not work that well that I found. The metal, I said file, this is a metal saw. It's too thick to really be viable in my opinion. Now, I haven't used it. This is one of the tools that I haven't truly used, but I just can't see that working that well. And then the awl is decent enough. You can get use out of the awl. There's things that you can get accomplished with this particular tool. And then the fact that it has your let's see, I forgot how to access your, oh, I remember. So now we got to get the pliers open. Now we have to open these up, and then you get access to your bit. So you want to use a screwdriver. There's like 5 different steps to get a bit out in order to use a screwdriver. So you can see I don't have all that much experience with this tool, but I have been trying to use it a little bit so I can give a more valid opinion on it, if you will. Now it also has another magnetic catch for your bits here, so you can use that in a T fashion as well. Now, on the other side, the Omniloc Ranch is actually not bad. I put this on, the largest you can get on is 1/2-inch fastener because it has to recess or pull back in, so that's 3/4 head. And I have found that the wrench itself, pretty good, pretty decent design. The problem with it is, especially on the bolts that I was trying to release, is that I had to push so hard on this thin line here that all of the protrusions that you see in this tool actually would indent into my hand, into my palm, with the amount of pressure I had to put on it. So there's a lot of hot spots in this tool in order to use it viably. But the fact that it does have, this is one of the highlights, is that because it comes inclusive with a pair of pliers and a wrench, then the theory is that you can get a lot more done with this because you can have one tool working and the other one backing up. And that's a valid opinion. It's just it doesn't work well in this tool combination, and it's very hard or very cumbersome, I'll say, to get everything undone. Now, you'll notice that on this side it clicks, has kind of that's where the teeth are to grip this. So what you have to do is you'll slide this one kind of to the left and it'll smoothly open, and then when it goes back and catches, it catches into that groove. Now it doesn't necessarily hold it, but it will keep it from slipping once you apply pressure, because the pressure will force that into the teeth and thereby lock it in stronger. So the wrench works pretty good. That is definitely one of the benefits to this one. And then you have your extension, which can go in a multitude of different places on this particular multi-tool in order to be able to use those driver bits that we were talking about earlier. Now, I have also found that the pocket clips are virtually useless on this tool. The size of this particular unit does not bode well for carrying this on a single pocket clip. So I would just prefer to have seen those taken off, in my opinion. Now, the case to them are done very nicely, and when the tool gets put together, these are really fantastic cases, by the way. This is The cases are better than the multi-tool in some regards. But this is a good concept or a good idea. It's just there's too much going on, and I'm really trying not to be critical because I don't want to discourage the engineer who designed these, because I think that he has the ability to come out with something that would be viable. I just think he's trying to do too much in this particular multi-tool, and it just makes it overall, the package is just completely cumbersome, where with this combination I can get a lot more done and a lot more user friendly, as well as being lighter weight. I can get the same backup action with an even better wrench and better pliers. Now, as far as cost, I think roughly, if you go with a Wave or something like that, they would be more comparable than the Charge Plus here. But I just brought this one out here because I like the red handles with the Knipex. So while this multi-tool in theory is a good idea, in practicality or in the final production product, I find it to be more cumbersome to use than it should be in order to make it a viable multi-tool option. So there's just too many steps to get to some of these things, and you can see when we start to go put things back together, you got to hold your mouth just right sometimes to get this thing back together, and then you lock that in, then you can hit the trigger, release again, close it all back up, and you're back together. So decent idea, just too much going on here. I really wish I had better things to say about it, though. I do like the knife blade, and I kind of like the wrench. It's quick access, easy to get to. The wrench can be used in a number of different situations. In fact, if he came out with just a wrench with an extension and maybe a way to put a driver just on the end of that wrench, that even in and of itself might be a good tool if you could get it out there for the right price. So anyway, a little closer look at the Toler Union with Omniloc Ranch. I wish I had better things to say about it, but it is what it is. My name is Ben. You've been watching the Texas Tool Crib. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.